All right, well, these guys are getting bigger, and they got a brand new facility, so we're here to check it out. And as always, it starts from raw material. These guys are making everything in the States right here in California, and you gotta ask yourself, how do you do business in the States anymore? You get smarter.
We've got everything from the coils to make the basic things of the bodies, the stampings that we have for our catalytic converter line, all the way up until the coils that we use for making our mufflers.
You're not worried about can you get the material, what shape does it come into you at? There it is, you guys make it all the way to the end.
Absolutely, the first thing we're gonna pass here on the left, you're gonna see is our basic stamping department. Here we have all our presses. This is where you see all those proprietary collector designs that we've come up with. All start off as raw material going through these machines.
Now this machine over here, this is, looks like we're starting with a sheet and we're rolling it in.
Yep, same concept. We're taking the basic raw material, the coil, and this is our muffler machine. Basically, this will take what we have as a raw piece of stainless steel, run through, actually stamp our name into it, shear it to the right length, form it into the actual either oval, round, or whatever shape necessary, laser seam weld it, and pop out the other side what looks like pretty much a muffler without ends.
All right, so we had like a roll of tape over there out of stainless steel, and now we got cool tubes we can start making catalyst bodies out of?
Absolutely, and as you can see, the seam weld is all laser controlled. You get a nice even weld, the penetration is very good, and it actually allows for a surface that we can manipulate like in the spinning machine or even in other objects that we have.
Cool, what's cool is it looks good on both sides, and I see over here you guys got ovals. This comes out of the same machine?
Same machine can do the same thing. If you want an oval shape, the small 4x9, our 5x8, or even our 5x11s, we're capable of doing any size we want and having the same effect.
Now we got our tube, seam welded, we've stuffed it with our catalyst brick. Now Richard's somehow gonna magically show us how they form it into something completely different.
And this is what we're looking at here, is basically this machine is capable of taking that end form and creating what we have here in the finished product. It actually rolls all the edges and extrudes the end out until you actually get what started off as a 16 gauge piece of material to something that's actually much thicker and much stronger.
All right, Brian, get your hammer and dolly out. Let me see you make something like that. This is actually a pretty cool looking part.
These are our muffler internals, and you'll see a little bit of what we got. We got the steel wool packing. That's there to actually protect the acoustic packing material that we put around it. We will take this part here and actually put the acoustic packing material around it, stuff it, and actually shove it into the body that we just rolled at the other machine.
Okay. All right, so I see we got maybe a stuffer here, and it looks like an assembly line, and then what are we feeding in there? I see a lot of things going on.
This is the big fun machine. This is where you can actually watch the part that looks almost like a muffler go from something that's a bunch of assembled parts to the part that you open the box and see, which is completely welded on all sides, including the body and the actual nipples that go into it.
Cool, so on the other side of there, I got a finished muffler?
Absolutely.
All right, this kind of fixture looks pretty familiar.
Yep, this is exactly what we got out of prototyping earlier today and what we send to production so that they can actually do what we're seeing here. Take that muffler we just saw built on that machine and now start fitting the pipes to it to get the finished assemblies. You'll see we'll do the same mandrel bending just like we did in prototyping, but here we're actually going to set everything up for finished welding. So once the mandrel bending's done, we actually take it in this cell and it goes through its trimming operation. So we can cut it down to the right size for the fixture and then actually finish off with all the proper end forming that goes on.
Nice, so you can keep everything within a good working cell.
Right, in here we can actually work with much smaller build quantities at the same time have just as many finished goods come out the door all finished. This is where everything gets stored. Look at our footprint, multiply it by how many racks tall we got. You could easily say we're close to 500,000 square foot of storage.
Wow, that's a lot of cool stuff. Richard, tell me what's going on with this sort of Space Ghost power band. I mean, does it have lasers? Does it shoot down aircraft? I mean,
not quite, it's this animal we got right here. Basically, it allows you to scan and actually see what the product is that the guys are picking on the floor as to what's being ordered on the sheet up front. This allows us to control and make sure, obviously, the right product's getting down the right lane.
Okay, so it's like a mainframe brain and it's like just pumping right down into this wristband?
Not quite, but it does allow the communication to make sure that we are getting the right information back and forth. If we're sending 100 at a time, it better be the 100 right ones.